Hey everybody, it's Mr. Vosters here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple multi-view drawing in OnShape. So within that folder, then I'm going to create a document. We'll just title that 1, 2, 3, and then we'll call it multi-view drawing. This is our first time making one of these, so I'll kind of guide you through the different steps, and then I'll show you a couple different wrinkles in the process, things that maybe you won't see right away, but I want to give you a preview of. So we're going to start by making a sketch. We're going to try to kind of make this thing. I'm not going to make the dimensions exact, and then I'm going to modify it slightly. So when you're making your multi-view drawings, it is important that you get all of the dimensions correct. So for something like this, you would want to be counting these grid lines, figure out what your scale is. Here it says our scale is 1:1. So maybe each grid mark here is one grid mark here, but we don't know if that's a 1/4 inch, an inch. You could decide that on your own. Same with this one. It's very important that you get the proportion, the scale correct when you're making a technical drawing like this. So back to this one, we're going to make this approximate L shape. And then, like I said, I'll maybe modify it a little bit. So we want to be very specific when we choose our plane where we're going to make our first sketch. So I'm going to make that L shape, which means I need to draw it from the front plane. So that's going to give me that distinct shape on the front plane. If I did this on the right plane, now all of a sudden my drawing is in a totally different orientation from what I intended. So I'm going to click on the front plane. Remember, you can click over here or you can click over here. There's another way you can create a sketch on the front plane. You can right click the front plane and then do new sketch. So 3 different ways you can create a sketch on a plane. So I'm just going to do this way. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to hide all of my planes so I can only see my sketch 1 and my origin. All right, on this sketch, first I'm going to orient to my front view using the view cube. And then I'm just going to use the line tool. And again, you're going to want to make sure you're making this dimension accurate with the dimensioning tool. I'm just going to make a basic L shape with no regard for the exact dimensions. So to get this last corner kind of lined up, you want to make sure it's vertical with the origin. So if it's not giving you this yellow dotted line, you can go and hover your mouse over the origin and then drag it straight out. So I'll finish my shape, click done. Let's go back to our isometric. So you can either click the corner of the view cube or hit Shift 7. So if I was in my front view, if I hit Shift 7, it brings me to that nice isometric view. We're going to extrude this shape. Again, I'm not extruding it as like appropriate amount per se per the drawing. I'm just kind of freehanding this. So let's say that looks pretty good. Now from here, our shape, for all intents and purposes, is done. Now we're ready to create our drawing. So the way to create a drawing, you're going to go over to your Part Studio in the bottom left, and you can right click, and there should be an option. Sorry, not down here. We should be looking down here where it says Part 1. That's this part. It's the only part we have. You can right click there and do Create Drawing of Part 1. So gives you a couple templates. B is going to be like 11 by 17. A should be an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So we're just going to use that ANSI A inch template. Click OK. All right, and when you come in here, it's going to start by asking you to place a base view. So by default, it's going to be the front view. We normally, as we know, we want to put that in the bottom left, typically, if we're doing our top, front, and right views. Sorry, lights went out there. So we'll place our front view in the bottom left, and then it's going to go to this projected view. So a projected view is taking the front view, and it's going to project it to a different face, to a different orthographic projection. So if you drag it straight up, it's going to give you a top view. If I were to click on the base view after we place the top view and drag down, it's going to give us the bottom view. We want the right view, so we want to drag over to the right. And notice there's kind of a period where it's like isometric. You want it to be straight to the right so you can place your right view. Now, in a multi-view drawing, we typically want our isometric view showing as well. So I'm going to click on the base view again and put a projection of the isometric view up here. So it's very normal in a multi-view drawing to have the isometric sketch be shaded. So right now it still wants me to put down another projected view. So I'm going to either hit escape or click this to get out of that command. Now, to make your isometric view shaded, you just right click it and then you can go up to where it says show/hide and then show the shaded view. It could also be this isometric view kind of is a lot larger because it's kind of extending beyond where the top view and the right view are. You may need to shrink this one a little bit. So if you double click it, you can change the scale to something smaller, maybe 1:4 or 1:3. It depends on your drawing. And if things don't fit quite right, you can change the scale of any of these. Okay, so click the green check. And I'm pretty happy with that for our multi-view drawing. So before I end the video, I want to show you a couple other things that you're going to encounter when you're doing multi-view drawings. So if you know you have a pretty basic multi-view drawing, you can go over to your part 1, right click, create part drawing. And if you click 4 views, look at the little picture here. That's going to just create basically what we just created. So it'll do it without any work on your end. And this can be kind of a nice feature if you're in a rush or if you know that your drawing is simple enough that it's going to work out when you do that automatic option. So let's compare our drawings. They look pretty darn similar. You may have to make this one shaded. So we can do that real quick. And if it doesn't fit on your drawing quite right, remember you can change the scale of that. Just make sure you click the green check after you do so. And there you go. So those look very similar. 2 different ways you can do the multi-view drawing. Okay, let's go back to our original part. Now, we didn't have any funky lines. We didn't have any hidden lines. We didn't have any circles or holes or hidden features. So we want to go back and add one of those just so I can show you what it would look like in your multi-view drawing. So in order to modify this part, I'm going to add a hole somewhere over here, maybe like down here. So I need to go back before my extrude to my sketch number 1. So if I double click on sketch number 1, it'll reopen it for me. You can see it right here. So I'll need to go back to my front view. Then I'm just going to add a circle just anywhere down here, just so you can see how this would look on the drawing. So if I click the green check, look at that. It already added that hole to my part. So let's go back to our original part drawing. I'm just going to delete this one for now so we don't confuse ourselves with having 2 of them. And you'll notice that this has a hole, but now our drawing doesn't have a hole. And that's because the drawing doesn't update automatically. We have to update it manually by clicking up here. So in the top left, we can update it from the workspace. So when we do that, you'll see that the hole should be added, and it is. Okay. It did do a nice job. It added our center lines to our circle, which is kind of nice. But it didn't add any hidden lines. There should be some hidden lines here, and there should be some hidden lines here. So to get that to show, we can right-click, show hide, show hidden lines. And look at that. Shows up nice and perfect for us. Here we can do it on this one as well. But we're still missing our center lines. And if you want to add the center lines, which you should, go to edge center line, and then you can select any of the edges of your circle, and it'll add a center line for you. So if we click either edge of our circle, it'll add a center line. Perfect. So that looks pretty good. If you want to export a drawing, here's what you'll do. You right click down here and go to export, and you can name the file whatever you want. It's just going to by default take the name of the drawing tab down here. So maybe we want it to be 1, 2, 3, multi-view drawing, and then our initials. Format PDF is probably the most preferred. The rest of the settings are probably fine. So then we can click export, and it'll give us a nice PDF once it's done. So it shows up here for me. I can open that up, and look, we've got our nice drawing of our object with the hole, with the hidden lines, with the center lines. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how to create a multi-view drawing, and you're feeling a little more comfortable following those steps. So lights are going out again. All right, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.